It's late. It's 1:52 a.m. I'm just, my mind is starting to
We're on fumes
fry.
here.
Okay, so it has been a wild week around Jason Robertson. I think everything that was reported during the week about him was accurate. I think Dallas was reeling after their great wins over Colorado and Winnipeg, their shock and disappointment at the way they lost to Edmonton, and how the last game unraveled to the point where Peter DeBoer got fired. And I think they let it be known that they were going to have to consider some things. And I don't think anybody who reported that there was noise around Robertson was wrong. I got a call during the game on Thursday night saying that Dallas is dialing this back a little bit, and we'll see. Here's why I think Robertson, his name was out there. Dallas has some decisions to make. What they want to do and how they're going to deal with some of the choices on their roster. And I think they wanted to have an idea of what was out there for their players, and should we make any decisions before we know what some of these market values were. And I think Robertson was one of those players. And to me, Robertson, I think if he would have gotten traded, it would have been for one of two things. A great player in return, obviously. Or two, could they recoup what they gave up to get Rantanen? Which would allow them to get draft picks, maybe get a good young player, replenish themselves, and either keep all that and use because they're really good at drafting and developing, or maybe move it for something else. Whatever. I think there was two things. That was, A, do we get a great player for him? Or B, do we replace what we lost when we acquired Rantanen? I think there's also the question of what's his next number going to look like? Does Dallas feel that his next number might not be a number they like? Well, judging from what I'm hearing on Thursday night, I think Dallas is prepared to find out what that number is. Can they make a deal with him? He's under contract for one more season, but he's got 2 more years of team control before he's a UFA. He'd be arbitration eligible for that second year. He is eligible for an extension on July the 1st. My sense is, based on this information which came from another team, is that they've kind of been told Dallas wants to see what his long-term future is with them before they make any decisions. So I think the Robertson stuff is now on hold until we figure out if he extends or not. That's my latest update as of Thursday. Well, that's now Friday morning at 1:56 a.m. about where I think this stands. I had mentioned they wanted to keep Granlund. I'll say this. I think it's going to be tough for them. I think there's a sense that Granlund can do better on the open market than what they're willing to do. Let me just give the caveat that at this time of year, things change really quickly. But that's what I heard as of Thursday night. So I think they're gonna see how Robertson's contract talks go. I think it's hard to see them keeping Granlund. I still think they want to try to take a run at Duchesne. I don't know what the chances are. They may have to move some other people out to get all this done. And we'll see what happens with Mason Marchment. We'll see. But that's the And the other thing too is a coach told me tonight, because I went on NHL Network, which we air with Catherine Tappan, Mike Rupp, and Jason Demers, and I said that Alain Nasreddine has a shot at that job, and if Nasreddine gets it, maybe Neil Graham, the AHL coach, joins the staff as an assistant. And another coach told me the word is that the Stars want to interview both Nasreddine, who I believe has been interviewed, and Graham, who I don't think has been interviewed, but I don't know for sure, but is apparently getting one. I think Neil wants to talk to his two internal guys. And I don't know if there's anyone else internally. I don't know. But I think he wants to talk to his two internal guys first and then see where he's going. But I think, Kyle, that's where the Stars kind of are. Like I said, I checked with it. A team called me. They said, I think the Robertson stuff's being dialed back. And I checked with another team and they said, yeah, they think so too. Which, of course, means we'll drop the pod at 9 a.m. Eastern on Friday morning, and he'll be traded at 9:01.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just kind of a strange year for him too, right? Like, it was slow start. You know, it probably cost him a spot on the Four Nations team. Then he really got going. Then he got hurt. Slow initially coming back in the playoffs. And then, you know, he ended up kind of being the lone guy for Dallas that was finding it offensively against Edmonton as things kind of crumbled there. So it's tough to get a real read of where the next step in his game was. So I can understand Dallas wanting to take a bit of a more patient approach here for a little bit. And they do seem to be a team that likes to, if they've got a homegrown talent and they believe in them, they find a way to hang on to them.
Yes, and I think the other thing too is I think the whole week shows the wild emotion of what Dallas was feeling, and never make major decisions when you're angry, right? Like Jim Nill has been around longer than dirt, right? So like he's smart. He knows what to do. I think he's a competitive guy, but I think he's a really level-headed guy when it comes to these kinds of decisions, and that would make sense.
Certainly does come across that way whenever you listen to him publicly.
All right, a couple things before we move on to Pittsburgh here and stuff. Jonathan Toews. Sounds like it's a couple teams here. I think Winnipeg's in there. I think Colorado's in there. You know, it's interesting about Colorado. I was talking to someone